In today's tale from the shadows, we learn that everything that crawls is not what it seems. So don't get too stuck in the web of this sticky tale. The quaint village of Norfolk, nestled against the vast Broads, held a secret that lingered like a ghostly whisper on the wind. On the outskirts, obscured by the dense foliage, stood an ancient farmhouse, dating back to the 1500s. This relic of the past, weathered by time, told stories of a lineage that refused to relinquish its grasp on the ancestral home. Generations of the same family had dwelled within the hallowed halls, veiled by the isolation and seclusion that location provided. The entrance to the farmhouse was guarded by an imposing gate, keeping curious onlookers at bay. The villagers spoke in hushed tones about the mysterious occupants, but their knowledge barely scratched the surface of the farmhouse's enigmatic history. Recently, a new family, seeking solace from the city's chaos, purchased a property adjacent to the ancient dwelling. From the top-floor window of the modern home, they glimpsed the silhouette of the aged farmhouse and the looming barn nearby. Intrigued, they inquired with the locals about the inhabitants of the historic estate, only to be met with blank stares and uneasy silence. As the new family settled into their home, the allure of the enigmatic farmhouse became an obsession. Unbeknownst to them, the whispers of the past stirred in the wind, hinting at a legacy that had been carefully concealed for centuries. As the days passed, in the newfound tranquility of their rural abode, the new family began to uncover the peculiarities that clung to the Norfolk village like a lingering mist. It was during a visit to the local town that they stumbled upon the first unsettling piece of the puzzle. Whilst pursuing the quaint market stalls, the family overheard snippets of conversations among the locals. Concerns about missing livestock echoed through the crowd. Cattle and sheep, vital to the villagers' livelihoods, were vanishing without a trace. The town murmured with speculation and bewilderment. How could such valuable assets simply wander off? Intrigued, now attuned to the strange undercurrents of the village, the new family engaged with the locals, learning that this inexplicable phenomenon had persisted for many months. Every few weeks, a sheep or a cow would disappear without a trace, leaving the farmers puzzled and frustrated. Some spoke of eerie noises in the night, of shadows that moved unnaturally in the moonlight, but none dared to venture beyond the vague insinuations. The son of the new family, Anthony, overhearing the local tales, remarked, "Good thing we've got Max tagged with the GPS," referring to their loyal dog. The comment was met with nods of agreement from the locals, who contemplated the idea of tagging their own livestock in a desperate attempt to solve the mystery that haunted their once peaceful village. The Norfolk landscape unfolded in all its rustic charm as Anthony and Max embarked on a leisurely walk. The bond between man and dog deepened as they played in the open fields, the sun casting long shadows in the late afternoon. Their carefree exploration led them closer to the old farmhouse, a looming figure on the horizon. Suddenly, Max's playful demeanor shifted. His eyes perked up, and his gaze fixed on a point in the distance, a place unseen by Anthony. Max, sensing something the human senses could not detect, bolted in the direction of the ancient barn, disappearing through a gap in the hedge. Anthony, concerned, hurried after his furry companion. In the quietude of the open field, Max sat outside the barn, a vigilant guardian with his eyes locked on the weathered doors. Confused, Anthony approached, whispering, "What is it, boy?" Just as he prepared to enter the barn, a voice cut through the stillness. "Don't go in there." Startled, Anthony turned to see a young girl. Her presence a sudden apparition. "Oh, hello. My dog got loose and ran over here. I'll get him back," Anthony explained, feeling a strange tension in the air. "That's okay. Come back sometime, won't you?" the girl said cryptically, her eyes holding a secret Anthony couldn't grasp. As he was about to respond, he noticed a spider crawling on her shoulder. "You have a spider on your shoulder?" he pointed out. "Of course," she replied casually, heading back towards the farmhouse without a hint of concern. Anthony, perplexed and unnerved, decided it was time to leave. "Don't ever go there again, Max. Something feels funny," he whispered to his loyal companion as they retraced their steps, leaving behind the enigmatic girl and the ancient barn with its secrets sealed behind creaking doors. Little did Anthony know this encounter would be a prelude to a journey into depths of a legacy buried in time. The night unfolded with an unsettling calmness as Anthony found himself unable to shake the mysterious encounter with the girl and the barn. Unable to resist, he glanced out of his window on the top floor, eyes drawn towards the distant silhouette of the old barn on the gated farm estate. There, a faint light flickered, casting eerie shadows. Determined to decipher the source, Anthony reached for his phone and activated the zoom function. As the image became clearer, a chill ran down his spine. It appeared to be a colossal spider, or at least that's what he thought he saw. Rationalizing, he dismissed it as shadows playing tricks on the camera. Intrigued and somewhat disturbed, Anthony recorded a video through the zoom lens and transferred it to his PC. When he played it back, the image sent shivers down his spine. A monstrous, spider-like figure seemed to crawl into the barn, accompanied by two human forms. "It can't be," he muttered to himself, questioning the authenticity of the footage. As morning light bathed the landscape, Anthony's sense of unease grew. The realization struck him like a cold wind. He couldn't find Max. Panic set in, and he frantically questioned his family about the dog's whereabouts. "Dad, have you seen Max?" he asked urgently. "No. Did he go out?" his father replied, concern creasing his brow. Turning to his sister Rachel, Anthony repeated the question. "Rachel, have you seen Max?" "No," came the simple reply. A knot tightened in Anthony's stomach as a horrible realization took hold. The barn, the mysterious girl, and the inexplicable occurrences seemed to converge, creating a web of intrigue that ensnared not only his curiosity, but now his beloved companion. Determined and fearing the worst, Anthony steeled himself for the journey ahead, where the secrets of the old farmhouse would unveil themselves, and the fate of Max would become entangled in the enigma that lurked within. Dread settled over Anthony as he set out to find Max, the fresh paw marks leading him towards the old farmhouse as he approached the barn. The slightly ajar door hinted at the possibility of answers. Stepping inside, he found nothing but a seamlessly abandoned, dirty structure. However, his eyes caught sight of peculiar marks that abruptly ceased at the center of the barn. Investigating further, Anthony uncovered an old hatchway. Pushing it open, he revealed a set of stairs leading down into the darkness. A whimper echoed through the hidden chamber. A hope surged within him. It was Max. Racing down the stairs, Anthony discovered his loyal companion ensnared in a massive spiderweb. Animal bones littered the macabre space, sending shivers down his spine as he worked to free Max. Once successful, they hastily ascended the stairs, but their escape was met by the mysterious girl from the day before. "Hello again. I'm glad you came back," she greeted with an unsettling smile. "Won't you stay for lunch?" Anthony, incredulous, retorted, "What? My dog was trapped here and you want me to stay?" The girl's response was chillingly nonchalant. "Yes, but now you've freed him, who will we have for lunch?" As Anthony processed her words, a disconcerting sound emerged from the depths of the chamber behind him. He turned to witness a monstrous sight. A spider, as tall as a man, with black hair on its legs and menacing fangs. The creature shuffled forward with an alarming speed, prompting Anthony and Max to sprint up the stairs. Their escape was punctured by the girl's eerie invitation. "Do come back any time. We'd love to have you for lunch." The echoes of the encounter lingered in Anthony's mind as he fled the nightmarish scene, leaving behind the old barn and its dark secrets. The inexplicable events had unraveled, revealing a horror that transcended the boundaries of imagination, a web of terror woven by an ancient legacy that demanded more than mere curiosity from those who dared to approach. "Dad, there's a huge spider in that old barn," Anthony exclaimed. His father chuckled, dismissing the claim as an overactive imagination. "You and your imagination, son. You should be a writer one day," he teased. Undeterred, Anthony sought solace in his sister Rachel, hoping she might take him seriously. Approaching her with urgency, Anthony explained, "Rachel, there's something evil in that place, a weird-looking girl and a spider bigger than Dad." Rachel, absorbed in her phone, glanced at Anthony with mild annoyance, but didn't acknowledge his concerns. Frustrated by the lack of support, Anthony resolved to fortify their property, sealing any holes in the fence to prevent Max from wandering near the old barn. His father praised his efforts, but Anthony swore off ever going near the ominous place again. Days passed, and a false sense of security settled in. Playing with Max on their property, Anthony spotted the girl at the edge of a farmhouse. Suspicious, he confronted her, demanding, "What do you want?" "Oh, nothing. Just looking," she replied casually, offering him a treat from her bag. "Would you like some?" Anthony hesitated, eyeing the bag. To his horror, what appeared to be raisins were revealed as flies. Recoiling, he ran towards his home. As he arrived, an unsettling sight awaited him. His family was gone. Panic set in, and Anthony frantically searched, only to find thick cobwebs covering the floor. The eerie realization dawned on him. His warnings had not been in vain. The inexplicable events had spiraled into a web of malevolence that now ensnared not only his dog, but his family as well. The old farmhouse, with secrets concealed within, loomed as the epicenter of a horror that transcended the boundaries of the imagination. "I've got to save them," Anthony declared, determination burning in his eyes. Max, sensing his master's urgency, watched him with a mix of concern and loyalty as Anthony headed towards the ominous barn. Climbing through the hedge, he found the girl waiting for him. "I've been waiting for you, Anthony," she said with an unsettling calm. Anthony, fueled by a mix of fear and desperation, demanded, "Where are my parents? What have you done with them?" "Oh, I don't know. Maybe they're in the barn." She laughed, her voice echoing through the desolate surroundings. Ignoring her, Anthony rushed towards the barn. The doors wide open. Inside stood 3 figures. 2 men and a woman, each with thick black hair covering their faces and hands. "Welcome, Anthony." They greeted her in unison, sending shivers down his spine. Fear etched on his face. Anthony demanded to know the whereabouts of his family. Ignoring their responses, he descended into the hidden chamber, only to find it empty. "Mum, Dad, Sis, are you in here?" he shouted in desperation. Suddenly, a familiar crawling noise reached his ears, the rapid scratching of legs against the floor. The massive spider, now vacant, left Anthony bewildered. As he turned to escape, the horror intensified. A man-sized spider, its face bearing slight human features, emerged. Thick black hair covered its form, and drool dripped from its fangs as it fixated on Anthony. A guttural scream escaped his lips as he raced up the stairs to escape the grotesque creature. At the top of the stairs stood the 3 adults and the girl. One of them spoke, a fine young man, followed by another, perfect for our little Elsie. The woman joined in. Welcome to the family, son. Elsie's just come of age. Their chilling words echoed through the barn, sealing Anthony's fate in the grip of a lineage that thrived on darkness and the insidious embrace of the ancient legacy hidden within the desolate farmhouse. Anthony's parents returned from a visit to town, expecting to find their son. Instead, Max greeted them with a wagging tail, but Anthony was nowhere to be found. His mysterious disappearance sent shockwaves through the local community, leaving a void that could never be filled. Despite desperate searches and investigations, Anthony remained lost, a haunting mystery lingering over the Norfolk village. Months later, Max, who had grown restless, managed to escape the confines of the property and slip through the hole in the farmhouse hedge. Driven by an instinct or a lingering connection, he entered the barn and descended the stairs into the hidden chamber. At the bottom, a voice greeted him. "Hello, boy." It was Elsie. "Have you come to meet my new husband?" A crawling noise followed, and Max beheld a sight that defied reason. A spider, covered in dark hair with a face that seemed to bear a faint resemblance to Anthony. The spider murmured softly, "Oh, Max." The legacy of the ancient farmhouse, entwined with dark secrets and an insidious heritage, unfolded in the depths of the hidden chamber. The legacy claimed not only Anthony, but now reached out to embrace Max, the loyal companion. As a new chapter in the sinister tale began, the barn stood as a silent witness to the mysteries and horrors that lay beneath, concealed from the world by a veil of isolation and the relentless passage of time. The legacy endured, leaving a chilling legacy in its wake, a story etched into the very fabric of the Norfolk landscape, forever bound by the threads of an ancient web that spanned generations. And if you're still looking to fulfill your thirst for more horror, don't forget to check out this next video, unless of course you're frozen with fear already.